exact sentiment coming from Governor Sisolak with this mask mandate last night. He says that this is not a partisan issue, but an effort to get ahead of a 4-week climb in COVID cases here in the state of Nevada. Now, the mask mandate has received praise and pushback, but there are some exceptions. Now, the only people not required to wear a mask under this directive, kids ages 2 to 9, those with medical conditions making it hard to breathe, and anyone with disabilities that prevents them from wearing a face covering. An exception has also been made for outdoor recreational activities. For example, people jogging or swimming do not have to wear a mask as long as they are alone or with household members and that they stay away 6 feet away from others. Every single other place across the entire state, a public location, you will have to have a mask on here in the state of Nevada. Now, throughout the valley, we have heard the opinions of locals and tourists for and against the mask mandate. The Culinary Union also making their opinion known with 60,000 members across the state. The union has actually been pushing for mandatory face coverings at all casinos in the state. They say this is a step in the right direction, though they still don't think it's enough.
We need to have a mandatory test for all the workers inside, and we need to have a daily room cleaning.
Now, as far as the directive goes, the governor says that businesses that do not make sure that they're following this directive, that all the people coming into their business stores have that mask on, could face issues. We're talking about licensing issues, OSHA as well. When it comes to members of the public, the governor says as of now, there will not be any civil or criminal penalties that people who do not follow the directive that could face. We've got the full details on our website, news3lv.com. Once again, this goes into effect at midnight, so going into Friday morning. For now, they're reporting live. Kendall Kim, News 3.
It's official. Channel 3 is an official partner of the Las Vegas Raiders in their inaugural season here in our valley. We'll have as much original programming as we can possibly produce in the sports office. But as a station, we'll have exclusive training camp, a show done by the Raiders to be seen right here on Channel 3. And with that, hello, welcome live to Studio B for sports. I'm Brian Salmon. You know, one of our sports leagues here in Las Vegas, the UFC, folks, they've got another one. Yes, they have another one. It's their 5th straight event here in Las Vegas over at the UFC Apex this Saturday. It's another big one. Lightweight Dustin Poirier is taking on an up-and-comer in Dan Hooker. Now for Poirier, he's looking to bounce back from a title fight loss to Khabib, snapping his 4-fight win streak. Hooker, the Brit, has won 4 of his last 5 fights. Both fighters going in are ready for a high-energy fight.
I had a taste of the interim title, and I want more. I want to be the undisputed world champion. I know that I can make it happen, and I have a lot left to give. This has been the longest layoff of my professional career. I had surgery. I had a lot of rehab. It's been trying times for me, and I've stuck to the path. I've put my head down and worked harder than before, and that's my career. Picking myself up, getting better, doing it again. That's my story. That's who I am.
Well, the NASCAR driver that you really never heard of before the Black Lives Matter movement, Bubba Wallace, well, he's had a whirlwind of a past few weeks. How about Bubba going from NASCAR's return with the pandemic to his Black Lives Matter paint scheme on his ride, to successfully prompting NASCAR to ban the Confederate flag, to finding a noose that ended up being determined not a hateful act directed at Bubba by the FBI. Now, today, Bubba responds to the findings that the rope that he found in his garage was not a hateful act.
The photo evidence that I've seen and that I have in my possession of what was in our garage is exactly a garage pool. It is. That is a noose. So it's, it's, I don't know when we'll get to the point to release that image, but it's anybody sees it, then it's alerting, and it makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up for sure. But all in all, like NASCAR says, it's a thing that I wouldn't change a thing. I would alert the NASCAR officials and let them kind of take care of it. If I had seen it in person, let them know about it and let them take care of it.
And the USL has a return to play plan for our Las Vegas Lights and the 35 total USL teams, the Lights FC, who have been having some light workouts thus far will play 16 games over 13 weeks. They'll have a single game elimination playoff. The USL will announce 4 team schedules on Thursday with 4 more on Friday. And guys, I have to say this. It is beautiful for Channel 3, our News 3 team, including you guys, to be a proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. I hope we get a chance to see them play in Allegiant Stadium.
Me too.
Yeah, we all do. And I got to tell you, when I heard there was a connection between our station and the Raiders, I thought they had drafted Salmon. And apparently that's not the case, huh?
He wouldn't be doing sports in a pair of
I tried
shorts.
to get in there. They wouldn't accept me.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Usually we talk about the newest films and entertainment options out, and we'll get back to that. But I want to take a moment to talk about films that have made a difference and have brought about social change. First on this list is Spike Lee's 1989 film, Do the Right Thing, a film that became an instant classic because of its daring visuals and the twist on the race movie narrative. This movie, of course, is free right now, streaming on most platforms, so check it out. And today at 5 p.m., AFI will have a live conversation with Mr. Spike Lee himself on their YouTube channel.
Good people, please, if we don't stop this and stop it now, we're going to do something we're going to regret for the rest of our lives. Doctor?
Come on, what?
Always do the right thing.
Next up is a new release, but has no less powerful a message with The Hate U Give. Based on a young adult novel, it covers police brutality and identity and puts them in a thought-provoking story of a black girl growing up in an inner-city community and going to a private school across town. The film puts a spotlight on how early the trauma and the grief can start for some.
Of a 17-year-old black teenager by a white police officer.
We live in a complicated world.
It doesn't seem that complicated to me.
Violence, brutality. It's the same story, just a different name.
Lastly, I took a moment during my interview with actor Ernie Hudson to ask about some of his social change movies. We know him best from Ghostbusters, HBO's hit show Oz, and his new show on BET+, The Family Business. Movies that have caused social change. Now, is there any movies that changed you that you can think of? I mean, looking back on just your career, I'm thinking of Oz, how much change that show itself created. But is there any movies you could say or you could list off that created social change for you?
Well, yeah, I think I'm just trying to think of anyone off there. I mean, you see things like The Heat of the Night with Sidney Poitier, or a lot of his stuff, Blackboard Jungle, or I think, seeing movies sort of grappling to deal with, relationships. It's always amazing to me that for a lot of people to believe that the experience of being African American but to believe that there's this huge difference. But, I think if there's any term that kind of fits all of us, especially if you've been in this country for a while, is just American, because that's what we share.
In The Heat of the Night is definitely a movie that created a conversation and a social change. Sidney Poitier, in one of his most celebrated roles, appears as Virgil Tibbs, a Philadelphia homicide detective who, while visiting a small Mississippi town, finds himself falsely arrested and then, in a strained collaboration, works with the town sheriff and stays on to help solve that murder.
Yeah, you can look at him. Come on, let him look.
He's left-handed, isn't he?
What's that make him?
Innocent.
I got the motive, which is money, and the body, which is dead.
You're holding the wrong man.
But don't you push me, boy!
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
What kind of people are you?
Before I go, I want to mention some free movies out there that deal with social change and racism. You can stream free right now, like Do the Right Thing, of course, but also Selma, The Hate U Give, Blindspotting, Antoine Fisher, 13th, Ali, and many more. As always, be safe, be entertained, but also be open to positive lessons and messages art and film can provide. We'll see you soon.